Hi, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 21 of our Supersize Your Business Annual Challenge. Today we're talking about, and we're taking Supersize, and we're adding that and making it an acronym for the 9 different life framework areas that we're going to talk about this year as part of this year's challenge. And today's topic and today's section is on our emotional health and well-being, our organization's emotional health and well-being. And we're going to dive deeply into this for an entire month, just like we do each of these other areas. And we'll cover like 30 topics per area. Some months 31, some 30, some 28, depending, or 29, depending on if it's a leap year. Whatever hits in February is the one that gets kind of shortchanged by a couple of days. But I just have to be a little more creative then. Excuse me. So emotional health and well-being. And I can hear the wheels grinding in your head and you're saying, what are you talking about, Sharon? I am not, and we are not an emotional organization. Our business is straight-laced, standards, process-driven, completely objective and rational. Really? That's what I say about myself, and everybody who actually knows me personally really, really well looks at me and says, everything you are feeling and thinking shows immediately on your face. It's why I only like doing face-to-face interactions and calls. It's, especially in the area of consulting and coaching. I want you to know when you say something outrageous, it's going to register on my face at least for a split second before I form a response or ask a question to get you to see how ridiculous what you just said is. If that makes sense. So we are all, as much as we think we are, and some people are more objective and rational than others, but that's a choice and an emotion too, right? Everything's energy, everything, and emotions are energy too. So the emotions that we feel the most often are having an incredibly large impact on our life and our business, whether we believe it or not, right? It's based on foundational universal laws of how things actually work, not how we wish they worked or how we think they should work. Because I don't know about you, but none of us is the grand creator or scheme runner of things. And we don't have control over everything. So we can either understand that, yes, we are emotional beings and choose to manage and lead with certain emotions and deter and refer to certain emotions, or we can just let our emotions run amok and whatever happens, happens, because that's what happens for the vast majority of people on this planet. And you know what? For about, I don't know, I want to say 5 decades of my life, that's how I was too. I didn't even really realize or know how emotional I was and how much my emotions, primarily fear of change, fear of being seen, fear of standing out. Now, I laugh at this, that I actually am in a group that we are working through a lot of past stuff, right? Because we all have it. We're all human. We all have it. We all have stuff that we're still hanging on to from when we were 7 or 3, or that we don't even know that ever impacted us, that wasn't even our thoughts, feelings, or beliefs. Anyway, it was one of our parents' fear of being seen, whatever, or fear of money, or fear of anything, right? Anything we're afraid of. We're born with a couple of fears, right? We're born with a fear of loud noises, and we're born with a fear of falling. Those are, I think, there might be one more, but I know, and being around my granddaughters, I see it, and it reminds me that, yep, every other fear we pile on based on the experiences that we've had, based on the emotions that we are feeling. And that's how powerful our emotions are, and why we spend a whole month diving deep into our emotional health and well-being and how that impacts us in our ability to grow and build and supersize our business. So what are we going to do for an action item today? All we're going to do is pay attention to our emotions with respect to our business today, ours and other people's. Do we have a lot of conversations around the competition? Are we actually worried, doubtful, fearful, resentful, jealous of our competition? Now, I get excited when I have competition in any area, because I know that means there's plenty of people that need to be served in that area. A topic for another day. So that's what we're doing. Pay attention to your emotions. What emotions are you feeling the most often? Is that serving you in your business, or is that not serving you in your business? I'll give you an example. In my Italian food manufacturing business, which was my longest running business, was frustrated freaking every single day. Every single day I was frustrated and upset about something. And not just once a day, almost the entire day. So guess what? Everything just kept happening to frustrate me more. And one day I realized, oh my God, I am creating all of this trauma and drama and stress for myself. Nobody else is frustrated. Everybody else is happy and going about their business. So it was all me. And then I thought deeply about it. And I think I learned this probably from, I don't know who I learned it from. Maybe Tony Robbins and NLP or something. I don't remember. But I started asking myself questions about it. And then I went all the way back and said, well, what does it take for me to get frustrated? This was a Tony Robbins process. What does it take for me to feel frustrated? And it was absolutely nothing. My definition of frustration was if something isn't going exactly like I expect it to, I get frustrated. How ridiculous is that? No wonder I was frustrated all the time. So what I did is I changed my definition of what it takes for me to get frustrated now. Now, it worked for several decades until I was around my granddaughters a lot. And I found myself behaving in ways I didn't like. I was raising my voice. I was saying things to them over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And we don't like that as adults. So do you think we like it as children? No. Do we think it gets us a result? No. It just raises the level of our frustration. And I realized that I was, and somehow I'd slipped to, if I asked or said something 3 times and I didn't get a response, I would be frustrated. I'm like, well, there you go. That's the most ridiculous definition of frustration on the planet. Now, I'm sure there are worse, but the one where when things weren't going my way was so powerful that it was easy to change this one. And it totally improved my interactions with my granddaughters. Do I slip sometimes? Yes. Am I frustrated? No, mostly it's worried or something about them getting hurt. So I'm working on that one now too. That's it. Any questions about this? Please ask, because it's really important that we get a solid foundation and start off the year right, as we're going to do something and dive deep into each of these areas, the 9 life framework areas, throughout this year. All right. Have an absolutely awesome day. Notice those emotions. Write them down. Don't judge them. Just write them down. And maybe you'll discover, like me, you've got a ridiculous definition, and all you have to do is change your definition. Now, this works with both positive and negative things, but we'll dive into that when we cover emotions and emotional health and well-being. All right. Have an awesome day. Of course, be with you tomorrow. Bye.